TK here, TK and Drinks. We got another BJCP style guidelines video coming at you tonight. Thank you for joining me for these. Tonight we're going to be doing M2B Pyments. Going to be joined by Shane from Dragon Meadery there in Colorado. So hopefully we'll be able to get you all some really kick-ass information about making Pyments. Sorry I'm a bit late. I was trying to open my bottle and the cork decided to disintegrate. Quite literally just disintegrated, and it's all in the mead and everything like that, and I'm like super pissed because I don't want fucking cork in my goddamn mead. So, and it's a 750 bottle. I was not planning on drinking all of this tonight, so I guess I'm getting lemon mead with cork. It's a fun adjunct, a little bit nutty, kind of on the spongy side. Not really. I'd say it's more of a flaw than it is really, you know, kind of like a characteristic, but lemon marshmallow, that is freaking delicious. So like I said, hopefully I'll be joined by Shane from Dragon Meadery. They've won several different Pyment awards, one for their, I believe it's called their chocolate Pyment, so I'm curious about how he did a chocolate and grape mead. Let's see here. He should be coming on anytime. I have not ever made a Pyment, unfortunately, but it's something I definitely want to get into. I think you can only benefit from making grape mead, meads, or making wines can only help benefit your grape mead making process. So I think there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of opportunities there. Come on, technology. Come on, technology. Maybe? Maybe not. Accept. Yes, go live. What's going on, Matt? Appreciate you popping in. Uh-oh. Ooh, technology. Let's try that. I sent them a request. And hopefully that goes through. I don't know why sometimes it rings and does all this stuff, but then it doesn't fully connect all the way. It's always Instagram, these issues. You know, if there's these issues when you're not doing live stuff, you never see it or anything like that. But I know there's all sorts of connectivity issues with like Zoom and Google Meets and all the other things as well. We just never see them. All right, here. Go live, yes, I'm trying to, I promise.
You made it?
Hey, 45th time's a charm. What's going on, Shane? How you doing, bro?
Times? You say 4 times?
I think that was like my 4th or 5th time of trying to send it through before it finally connected on my end anyway.
I had like one flash where it was like, bam, that was it. And like,
Oh, nice.
Really?
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, especially on such short notice. I always enjoy your company, sir.
Love to be here.
So tonight we're talking Pyments. I know you guys have won a couple of awards in the Pyment category. You've got a he looks ambiguously.
Yeah, there's a few up there.
Yeah, there's a few up there.
A little bit more on the, we've been doing a lot more with the Governor's Cup lately versus some of the other festivals that are out and about. And the Governor's Cup is a state-run one, so it's kind of fun to show off in the state.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm a big fan of all the local state competitions, especially because those are people who are going to be more likely to actually visit your tap room and buy your stuff on a more consistent basis. So while the Major Cups are nice and the Valkyrie's Horns Awards are nice for, you know, bragging rights, the state cups and the local fairs and all those things, I think, are actually a lot more beneficial. I
love the mead competitions when they're first, second, and third, and that's it. Some of the other competitions, even when you get to the state level, it's like, okay, we had we just got results back from the Governor's Cup. We took 3 silvers in it,
Nice.
and there's 200 and some odd entries, like 290 some odd entries. 13 entries, and then they awarded 22 like double gold this year. So,
Heck
you
yeah.
know, that's the way it is with
Yeah.
the wine. But as far as
Well,
like the Governor's Cup, real quick, it's a little bragging rights, but the
yeah.
first 2 years we entered, we were actually part of the Governor's Cup collection, which we were the only brewery to actually have a double gold those 2 years. And none of the meaderies in the state actually had one last year for the double
Heck
gold.
yeah.
So,
See, and I'm a fan of the more wine style with the golds and the double golds and the 90 point pluses. It's a more familiar um, ranking scoring system for your. It's a more familiar system for our more wine friendly and wine derivative type of uh, drinkers and consumers out there.
sure, at least it makes it a little more. It's something that wine drinkers actually can recognize too in the state.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, you got that? Okay. I don't got to tell them that, you know, 27, they offered up another 200 medals in silver, but yeah, we got a silver medal.
Exactly. Yeah, they know what a 90 points, they know what a double gold is. They appreciate all those things. So I
Exactly.
guess in that regard, having those awards and whatnot, I guess the question that starts it all off is what makes a great Pyment in your opinion?
We're talking mead, we're talking Pyments. I always, oh, hey, right there. Go ahead. I would say what makes a great Pyment is you're going to be the quality of your grapes and the how well it plays with the honey you're using, and how well they blend together.
Your yeast too, right?
Yeesh, yeah. So the whole overall experience are you getting your honey character? Are you getting the grape character? And are they similar style to your wine? Fun part about it with mead is you can get to other parts where you're like, hey, most people go, hey, a Shiraz or your Cabs are super dry, but you don't have to do that with a mead. You can say, hey, here's my honey character. Here's my grape character that you normally pick out of it. But we're going to cut it back to a semi-sweet, something with less tannins and a little bit more palatable. And that's the other part. I mean, you can really dial back in how much tannin you want with the Pyment too. So if you're
Very,
doing it for yourself, you're like, hey, I've had some really oaky calves, and you're like, that's a bit much. But with the Pyments, it's a nice thing with making the mead. You can actually balance that to yourself.
yeah, I find Pyment's a bit more palatable personally because of um, that exact aspect. They're much more tend to be, in my opinion, much more balanced as far as acidically and sweetness and tannins. A lot of those big, like you're saying, the big cabs, the big reds, they're just really heavy on the oak and they're really heavy on the tannic presence. And there's no, for me, my palate perceives it as like out of balance. But I have a mead palate, I guess would be a way of putting it.
Yeah. And I think the people that drink meads are a little bit more balanced on they prefer a little bit more balance. Like one of the years we were in the Governor's Cup, the guy that took gold was like 4 different types of oak, it felt like were just in that glass. You're like, you couldn't taste much sweetness, you could barely get the grape, and it was just like in your face tanning. I'm like, how is this number one? You
Yeah.
know, maybe they didn't like the apple, great. But I've had another wine over here that was a little more balanced on the tannins, a little bit more grape flavor. How are they doing this over oaked thing and calling it the best?
Shane is huge on balance. So you've got to taste the honey characteristics and you got to get the grapes in there. So it's got to be the best of both worlds because it is mead.
And then finding a yeast that actually plays well with both the grape and the honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's a question further down, but I mean, only like 2 questions is how big of a role does yeast selection play in the process? So I'm guessing pretty paramount.
It is. I mean, it's like any other mead you want to put together. Whether or not, I mean, if you're using a cider yeast to put something together or a mead yeast or you're using the 71B or the EC118, you're going to get different results with the same quantities of honey. So, I mean, they all,
7.
and D47, yeah, they all have
Mhm.
their own little characters and they all have their own little unique
They bring,
gives.
yeah, they all have a little bit of a different taste when after they're fermented. Yeah.
One of the popular yeasts is was it QA23? Is really
Mhm.
it's like what the industry uses on a Chardonnay,
Mm.
which is really interesting when you use it on a white grape with the mead. You're hitting a yeast
Yeah.
that actually likes the grape juice, It's going to leave a little bit more residual sweetness.
And it leaves a lot of fruit notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my experience with QA23 is it leaves a lot of tropical notes, at least at the temperatures I've fermented it at. It's like super tropical. Like I can't get away from the pineapple to the point where like I don't think I'm going to use it for anything other than like tropical meads.
Right?
What temperature are you fermenting at?
It was room temperature, so probably in like the externally with the thermometer was saying like the low to mid 70s. So I'm probably assuming internal during fermentation is probably a bit hotter than that.
Fair enough. So I learned that when they do cabs, and most likely they're fermenting almost like 80, 85 degrees.
Holy Christmas.
Yeah, I know. So I always think about, I like to keep things closer to that 68 to like 72 range when we're doing any ferment. And you think about how much some of the excess heat stresses the yeast, and you think, God, that's kind of is that really what's going on in a lot of these big, bold reds? That the yeast is a little bit, I mean, that's why they're using strains that tolerate that a little bit more versus some of the ones that we might choose to put in for a mead.
So my question, are you going to make a tropical fruit piment here soon?
Well, I've got like 10 gallons of, or no, I got 10 pounds. Sorry, not 10 gallons. I wish I had 10 gallons. I have 10 pounds of guava blossom honey I got from Hawaii. And I was thinking about something to do with those. I was thinking like something strawberry related. And if I could get like a guava puree or something like that, maybe a strawberry guava. So I guess it's kind of tropical.
That sounds good.
You're going to need a lot of strawberry for that.
Yeah. Yeah, we just made a strawberry and.
Yeah. I keep debating, like I'm doing it on a small enough scale. I think if I could find somebody local doing like IQF strawberries or, a nice, there's a strawberry farm not too far up the road and hoping I could get something going with them maybe for next year. As far as, hey, anything that you guys got that's, going sideways, you're getting rid of, I'll take some of that because it doesn't bother me none.
Don't go too sideways because quality in, quality out.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah, that's to be fair. I don't want any moldy strawberries. I meant like the unappealing ones they don't want to sell that are ugly. I'll take the ugly strawberries.
Strawberries are one thing. I've heard just through some of the posts over the years, and I don't know that I've seen so much of it lately, but people are talking about, oh yeah, get those when they're on the way out the door. It's like, no, you don't want to be cutting mold off your fruit to ferment it, grapes or otherwise,
But just a little too soft to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree that you don't want to be cutting mold off of it if you absolutely don't have to. That's not beneficial.
Yeah. If you think you're going, put them in the freezer. Come back to them.
Yeah. So would you use or do you use a different feeding schedule for your Pyments than you do for any of your other meads? Or does everybody get the same treatment?
Everybody pretty much gets the same treatment. And it might sound blasphemous, but we don't do Tosna either.
People were fermenting for a significant amount of time before and still making some phenomenal products. So it can't be the end all be all. I think it's a really good tool and it's some great knowledge to have. But if you can do something in your own fashion and make it work, I'm here for that too.
We played with it a couple times, and that step feeding, I think meat should take a little bit longer than 7 days to go to 16%. And it's a 71 beat. That's a little quick.
Yeah.
And if you're using Quebec, you're getting it overnight, but.
Yeah, I just want to know how many people ended up with a 5-gallon carboy bomb after their first time beating it like that.
That's a good question. I definitely got some nice foamy, heady meads, pitching, at 48 hours and pitching in there and having it all, foam up at me.
Yep. You learn pretty quick what a nucleation point is. How to hydrate dry ingredients before you put them in.
Yeah, and that's probably a lot of my initial problems before I learned that, additions of wet ingredients is significantly easier and less taxing on you.
Definitely.
So where do you stand on the thoughts of like tannic additives, body additives, like a FT Rouge, a FT Blanc, Opti White, Opti Red type of product?
Honest, I haven't used any of the we don't add tannins unless they're part of like a fruit or an oak or a spice, typically.
Mhm.
So we do an additional tannin add to it. We've used like the Opti White we've used occasionally, but that's with like something lighter, like a little less ABV. But most of the Pyments we've ever done, I mean, we've got our big bold Pyments that we threw on our Decadent series. We've got some stuff that we did with our Back 40, which are grapes that we grown ourselves, which were our
Mhm.
white grape. We've never actually used a lot of the Opti White or the Opti Red. I know they're well spoken of. I just don't use them. I mean, we played we played with some sessions recently that were a little bit
Mm.
lighter. That I utilized the Opti White in to help out with some mouthfeel and stuff, but not really much with the Pyments. Do you?
I haven't used any of those products. For all my tannic needs, I learned a trick that I picked up on and that I use. I just throw oak into primary for everything that I'm doing because it doesn't hurt the fermentation process. You introduce the tannins at an earlier stage so you can get that farther along at a quicker pace. Um, I'm not opposed to them. I just up until this point, now just moving into the house, I have to have like legitimate storage options for these types of products and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think I'm, I think I'm curious about them, but I, I, I'm on a
There's
fence only because I haven't had the option.
there's plenty of natural oak out there. I mean, right, our natural tannins, anyways.
Yeah.
Whether or
Yeah.
not it's a barrel staves. I mean, I've done. We've actually done some of our Pyments with oak additions in front too. You use it a little bit finer.
Plum.
Plum. Oh yeah. I love you guys' new labels too. Those are rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Plum's got a lot of natural tannins in it.
Oh yeah, I imagine plums. Well, I mean, plums turn into prunes. Prunes are super tannic in and of themselves. So I imagine that's going to be true for their skins as well. I haven't used any plums. That's one I definitely need to get in on, I think.
Definitely.
So I guess kind of a little more obscure or subjective type questions are like, what's a tip or trick, or what do you think are some good methods that people can use to get a mead from like a 32 to a 42, or to get them out of that good range to that great range?
I mean, if you easily want to bank a couple of points, turn in a
Yeah,
clear food, something you've actually used pectic enzyme in, racked it well, filtered it well. I mean, you can gain just a couple small points just by having a good clarity on it. That's one of the first things that people easy point to lose. But then, other than that, develop the body and develop your florals in your nose. I mean, get them to taste similar. You don't want a banana mead that smells like this banana and then tastes like just honey because then you've lost half the flavor of it. So
that's a
and it all comes back down to balance too.
Yeah.
If you're putting together multiple fruits in there and you're claiming multiple fruits, you should be able to taste multiple fruits and the honey. Unless you're going,
absolutely.
that's even on a big berry bomb, you should be, hey, I use this kind of honey in there. You should get those notes. So
Yeah,
Don't hide.
yeah, don't hide the honey.
yeah. Don't hide the honey and don't hide the fruits, and also like don't declare the fruit. Even if you put it in there, but you don't taste it, don't declare the fruit. There's nothing that says you have to declare strawberries if there's strawberries in there and you can't taste them. Call it a mixed berry mead, call it a whatever, but
Like,
don't declare something if you can't taste it, even if it is in there.
if you put 47 spices in there, put spice blend. You know, you don't
Yeah,
need.
I was like,
The more you write down, the more the judge is going to look for it. Well, I'm not getting the vanilla, not getting the cardamom, and I just don't know where this flavor is.
this doesn't taste like Ugandan vanilla. This tastes like Papua New Guinean vanilla. This is ridiculous.
And I've known judges, I've sat across some judges that they take that apart. Well, Ugandan vanilla really has this kind of extra flavor to it, and I'm really not getting it. It's just like,
Yeah.
dude,
Uh,
it's the vanilla. They've done good.
yeah. It can get a bit ridiculous out there for sure. Um, in that same regard, what are some other common pitfalls or, hazards that people stumble across when they're entering meads?
You know what? Have to step back onto getting your meat back up to raising it up. Don't stay
Oh
on
yeah,
your fruit.
absolutely.
Anyone that like when you're doing melomels or something like that, and you're using a lot of fresh fruit, don't stay on your fruit too long. Because I mean that'll be a big quick turn off. You can taste there's a difference between like having a strawberry that still tastes fresh versus a strawberry that's been macerated, the flavors come out of it, and it's been sitting at the bottom of the fermenter. You can pick that up as a judge. You can pick up that, hey, this kind of tastes a little old now. I mean, it's got great strawberry flavor, but now it's kind of tasting old. And
Yeah.
that'll really affect those, I mean, it's just those few flavor points, but
Yeah.
they come off quickly.
You can really taste the difference between artificial versus fresh, and you, especially if you're using a lot. And there are some meads that I've judged. You could taste the canned of the pineapple. You could tell it was a canned pineapple. So yeah, be careful with your ingredients.
Yeah, no kidding. I hadn't even thought about that, but I imagine if somebody used some suspect can, not some, sealed or like lined can or something, oh, you could easily get some like metallic-y type of notes in there. That would not be fun.
If you're going to take time to put together something you want to drink and have with your friends, is one thing. If you're going to put something together you want to sit in front of the judges and you want an honest critique on it, make sure you put a good foot forward. Don't use the day-old fruit. Don't use the the canned pineapples with the little maraschino cherries on them
Fruit cocktail. I made a fruit cocktail mead.
to save that for an experiment. If you're really trying to put something forward and serious, you want some serious judging on it.
Yeah.
Go spring for the fresh, spring for the frozen pineapples, spring for other maraschino cherries.
I stopped
something that was originally real fruit at one point.
Yeah.
I stopped judging homebrew when I got basically a kitchen sink mix, and one of the ingredients was yogurt covered craisins.
That was an ingredient. Oh God.
Yeah.
My tummy hurts just thinking about that.
I mean, dried fruit, sure.
Yes.
Yogurt covered.
Yes.
You're stretching it.
Yes. How is that dairy? Are we going to be okay to drink this? Is it going to?
Are you fermenting the yogurt? I mean,
yeah.
sugars from there.
The yogurt fermented. Oh, I'm good without all that. So when we talk about all these different meads, we talk about balance and over oaked and tannins and honey character. Yeah, how do you perceive balance specifically in Pyments, and what do you think people should be looking for when they're looking for balance in a Pyment?
Yeah, balance. Are you getting the honey? Are you getting the fruit? Is it too mouth-watering? Is there too much oak in it? And I mean, that's your balance. You should, if you say you're using a wildflower honey and you're using a particular grape, you should be able to pull those flavors out. Put enough oak in there. If it's too much, give it a little bit more time. Let it soften out a little bit. I mean, time cures a lot of things, especially when you're talking too much tannin, too much, spices, even if you're heading out that way. And then you watch acidity. Choose a honey that's got a decent acidity. Watch what your grapes are doing on there, and it's just
keep your cap punched down. Nobody wants a moldy mead.
And use, if you're going to use a juice, maybe make sure the juice you're using is well sourced and it's high quality, not going anywhere. Trusted purveyor.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to buy juice from somebody who's got preservatives in it. You're not going to get a really good wine or meat out of it. Or ferment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely not a good ferment out of it. So as somebody who's done an estate mead with their own product and stuff, what kind of tips would you give somebody who's trying to aim down that route, other than volume?
A lot more than 40 feet of grapes to make any sort of.
Holy crap! Yeah.
And each year is going to depends on your region, your area, and what type of grape you're using. We were using a white grape that's good for table and good for wine, so it was good. And
we just did it with a really good harvest one year. We're like, mead.
1 year is a little bit light. I mean, 1 year we can make 15 gallons. The other year we were making 50.
Yep.
But you just
holy cow.
On the state side with any of your fruits is you can harvest them when they're done. You don't have to trust that someone's going to harvest them. They're going to ripen a little bit on the truck before they even get to the store where you're picking them up at. You can go out here to the vine. If they're not ready, you don't pull them yet. And harvest as you go and, clean, refrigerate until you go, all right, I've got my volume. I can press now, save the skins, press them all, throw them in whole. I mean, it's all up to you on a smooth brand how you can put them together.
Make a nice paquette. Ooh, your audio's like got really awkward all of a sudden.
Better?
Uh,
Tell me to
oh, there we go. Huh, I don't know. Okay.
make sure my connect to my earbuds.
Ah,
It'd be in the
uh,
case. Ears.
yeah, my phone was having issues connected to my earbuds. Um, so how diligently do you maintain a recipe, um, specifically for something you're going to enter into competitions?
Well, every mead we do, we've got a recipe, we got our target goals, we got what we're going to start with. I mean, we already have an idea before we even pitch it what our final product's going to be number wise, what our gravity is going to be, what our alcohol is going to be, and
Mm,
that comes a lot of repetition making the same product. In a commercial space, we really got to. I mean, people are going to want the same thing from batch to batch to batch. So we've had to dial in those numbers and adjust them from the start. Can use a yeast that we know and love that'll give us the results we want.
right.
So we're pretty. I mean, on everything that we're making repetitively, we've just like in the kitchen, we've got a nice recipe put together. We know that we're going to hit these key markers on there to make sure that this recipe is going to come out consistent and same.
Yeah.
And we document whether it's our first batch, last batch, every time we rack, every time we pull a number, we're checking on it. I mean, we may not be doing Taza, but we're checking it after, is our fermentation going? Where are we at? A couple days out, a couple days out. All
Right.
right, we're going to hit our lag phase. We're going to rack it. We're documenting numbers. I mean, you can't go wrong by documenting and documenting and documenting and over documenting.
There's no
Yeah.
such thing, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
More
then
information is always better.
right. And then you can compare it from like, okay, well, I did these two batches. I started them both, October one year, October the next year. And I mean, we check what's the metery temperature, what's the product temperature at the same time. So I can go back and look at them. I'm like, okay, well, we racked, the second one, yeah, we hit the 2 week mark, but it was 10 degrees, warmer in the metery, but the meat was, same temperature. So you can track all the variables as they go along to see
Yeah.
what's, if anything, is changing them.
What company we get the fruit from year to year? That's huge.
Yeah. I would imagine that that's probably one of the hardest things to continually source would be fruit from the same,
Yep.
vendors or suppliers. I mean, you might be able to get them from the same vendor, but are they getting it from the same supplier?
Right. And did they blend 70-30 this time? And the next time they're doing 60-40 on the blend of the grapes that they give you? We
Oh, yeah.
said all changes.
Yeah. I imagine it's going to be completely different, like you said, from year to year, which is, I got to be frustrating and, just something you kind of got to come see, come saw. It is what it is.
It's like the honey, too. I mean, we use the same guy and our same provider guy that gets us the stuff. But even then, sometimes it's a little bit, the sweetness levels are a little bit different. You know, one time 3 pounds per gallon will give you one gravity, and the next time you might need 3.1 pounds per
Yeah.
gallon to get the same starting point that you want.
In that same regard, do you guys try to target ferment? Say start at, you start your specific gravity of, 1150 or whatever, trying to get down to a finishing gravity of, 1030 or whatever it is.
Always. I think if I can not back Sweden, I like that. I don't like the raw honey characters, and when you're tasting a meat, a lot of times it'll pull out. I mean, if you're doing something like tiny, where you're doing like maybe a cup and a dry meat of 15 to 30 gallons, you're not going to notice as much. But
Yeah.
if you take something down to, if you say you have potential alcohol of 12, you drop it down to dry and then you back sweeten it, well, you no longer have a 12 alcohol. You've added all this additional sugars to it. So you're dropping
Right.
your alcohol, plus you're adding a raw honey character back to it, which kind of throws off your overall balance. But if you target, hey, I want to finish down here at 1018, I know
Yeah.
my yeast makes 12%, so I'm going to start over here around 1150. I mean, the numbers, not exacts.
Sure.
So that when they get to, when I get my 12%, I'm still landed in my semi-sweet. And I think you find a better balance and a better flavor across the board with that.
I feel that's a way that you get a better, it's a way to increase body mouthfeel, because you're, like you said, that raw honey, that unfermented honey that you add in when you're back sweetening just doesn't have that same type of complexity. Even though the sugars in there aren't fermented, they've gone through the process. They've been, touched, so to speak. It just has this je ne sais quoi to it that you can only feel in your mouth.
It's like the people that are getting to the party after the party's already going and everybody's already buzzed. These guys come in and they're like kind of late to the party.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're complaining about the party being all lame. It's like, no, man, you guys are just got here late.
Talk about the latecomers to the party by back sweetening.
Oh,
Everybody's already at the party being drunk, and like everybody else walks in with the new honey. They're like, hey, you guys kind of lame. Like, no, man, the party's been going. Where you been?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Where you been? Um, you know, I,
Ooh, here.
you mentioned at the start of this, you've been entering, like the Governor's Cup and more local cups, or more local comps. Do you have what are your thoughts on the state of mead competitions today, or in the current climate, so to speak? I don't know what the proper term to use for that is.
To be honest, we haven't competed in too many of them in the last couple of years. I mean, ever since COVID, everybody gets, when they're not consistently held, or they change when they're doing them. And the last time we found out about the Mazer Cup like days after the it's like entries are due today, and we found out over here. It's like, oh well,
Yeah.
it was a couple of years ago. It's just like when they're non-consistent, they're hard to get into. And I feel that anything that's going to be consistent needs a consistent core base of qualified judges. Not
True.
just pull in oh man, I need another person. Hey, you come here, sit in. Need someone that's either in the industry, someone that's judged before.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong about the BJCP beer judges. I know they know how to judge, but mead's a different animal than beer.
Yep.
I mean, if they haven't spent a whole lot of time judging mead in general, and they do a lot of beer, it's not the same animal.
It's really unfortunate when you get at a table with somebody, or in a collective of people who are just there, like, oh yeah, I'm just here to judge because they didn't have anybody to fill in the spot, so I just stepped in. It's like, well, you've already given off the air that you're not really in it, for the sake of what it is. You're just there as a warm body to take a spot. So if a person gets a high score or gets a low score, you don't really care. It's just mead. And that shit hurts.
Yeah.
For someone that wants to be there and wants to judge it, I mean, even if it's the weirdest mead they've ever had, they're still interested in what the flavors are and whatnot. I mean, I will kid you not, we had a mead that just said, the judge wrote on there, they didn't care for the combination of sherry and licorice. That was it. That was the extent of their evaluation.
Taste, that's not a judgment based on the flavors they're supposed to taste.
Yeah.
That's
right.
You want someone that wants to be engaged and is actually really interested in doing it.
Right.
I mean, and
That's a crude observation at best.
Yeah, and granted, I had one session of with the Metherlands we judged, and it was 5 or 6 different meads that all had some flavor, combination of vanilla, chocolate, and cinnamon.
Oh.
And yeah, you have to approach each one of them on their own merits, and I'm like, just okay, here's the technical part. Okay, let's get the technical part, and it's but you've got to be like,
what do you drink in between
this time? I wonder what this guy's going to do. I wonder what this guy came out and did.
What's your palate cleanser there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah. Because that'll linger.
I would hope that judges were consistent, well in mead. Whether or not they're like I said, whether or not they're making it, whether or not they're mead judge, BJCP mead judge.
Yeah.
That would be my hope on it. Like I said, we haven't competed a little bit for a while. We did some judging and best in show in our local competition, which, to be honest, some of the homebrewers in there are stopping some of the commercial meads.
I believe that.
Some profiles. I mean, I love that. I mean, the homebrewers get a little bit more time. They get to play with a little bit more of the expensive ingredients, and they get to tweak a little bit more that some of us on a commercial scale can't quite do and do consistently.
Or they're getting something locally or something somebody's growing that we can't get on a large scale. And
Right.
I'm pleasantly surprised with homebrew, and I look forward to judging that. They do an amazing job. A lot
Yeah.
of
Especially to show table.
when you hit the golds for the best in show, then you're really getting some really good stuff.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I haven't sat on too many homebrew tables where it was just a nonstop barrage of trash. I've heard horror stories from people from, you know, years
Judge,
gone by that, yeah, homebrew was basically like signing your death warrants. Like, all right, this is gonna be brutal. I'm not gonna have a taste bud at the end of this.
So I've been judging at least since '07, I want to say. And I mean, stewarding and judging for damn sure for quite some time. And then we've had some taken home, and where you might get 6 meads out of 24 that are worth sharing and drinking.
yeah.
But that quality has come up a lot in the last couple of decades. I mean, seriously, I find more and more that I'm willing to share, and less that are willing to go straight down the drain.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can tell you, a few years back, I mean, I've actually knew chunky. I've never actually had a chunky meat except for one, and I've never
Ooh.
seen like it since.
The carrot blossom that was 3/4 full of sediment.
Sediment and foam. I mean, we
It's
had one we cracked open. It was so much sediment stuff. It literally bubbled out 3/4 of the bottle. And then when you poured it, I mean, it looked like they left like oak shading, oak chunks and stuff like that. They had a really charred oak, and when you're cleaning it out, you'd actually get the wood chunks. That
Yeah.
was a chunky meat.
but yeah, more
But that's
recently
like
there's
one out
been
of
some
thousands.
right, but there's been a lot of really amazing meats coming out from the homebrew. I've
Yeah.
got to give props because they truly are making some wonderful meads these past couple of years that we've judged.
Some fruits that you just can't do in volume either.
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to get to a point where there's commercial meaderies out there making small batch meats just for competition level stuff. Because I completely agree with you. I'd say over the past, I've been in this for about 5 years now. I'd say certainly over the past 5 years, it's been, like you've said, this continuing trend of the home brewers just continue. I wouldn't even say slogging. I would say steadily marching up the hill of quality. And it's getting to be to where you can almost be guaranteed that the homebrew best of show is going to be equal to, if not better than, the commercial best of show.
We had ingredients like Elliott berries where they're like hand harvested from a certain region.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to pull in the 4 or 5 pounds per gallon that I want to use to make something like that at any scale. Man, local guy can go down and find 4 pounds and harvest it from his local, and get his local forest and get his local honey on there and turn out some really freaking good stuff.
Yeah. Especially these guys that are doing these huge berry bombs, doing, 7, 8, 9 pounds a gallon. Like can only imagine what your fruit bill is, so to speak. Yeah.
Even at 5 pounds, like on a strawberry, where they get to be what? They drop down as low as like $6 a pound unless you're finding like super underripe on sale.
Yeah.
But all your are like $6 a pound. Can you
You're in
imagine?
Virginia. You better start growing.
Trust me, if my wife's on it, she's all about it.
Yeah, I think that's something we've taken into consideration is even with just brewers, commercial brewers, you can hit that level of success. There's a threshold. And they hit that threshold and their quality drops significantly because, and I'm just guessing here, that they're not able to purchase in quantity what they want. Or maybe that price point's too high at a certain point. Being able to bring in some of those ingredients on a level that they're at is going to be difficult. So I find that in a lot of companies, and as soon as they cross that threshold and that product drops, that's when they close their doors. So what do you do as a business owner to prepare for that, to prevent that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. What do you do to prevent that? Like, there's some places that just choose to not expand and to continue, only go to a certain batch size, and that's all they'll ever make. And there is no, I mean, the 5-year, 10-year plan is remain open, and beyond that, it can be stay in the black. I mean, I guess staying in the black is remaining open, but beyond that, it can just be whatever, as long as we can continue to keep the lights on.
Roll out the door. You just got to let the line roll out the door, but if you go to that next level, then you're out of there. That's the scary part. And how do you know you're there? We haven't gotten that big, obviously. So
I think there's a small part where that's why you end up seeing some of these meaderies that, we're only putting out 2 or 3 varieties everywhere else that they can mass produce and keep up with volumes on.
Right.
And then you've got to them locally to get to all their good stuff, their specialty, their, small batch stuff.
Right. Like the brewers we talked to, they're like, I can only zest fresh lemons and squeeze fresh lemons for so long before my batch size gets so big that I'm not going to pay somebody to stand there and do that all day. So now I've got to build up options. You know what I mean? And it's cheaper 100%. For me to dried zests or lemon juice or whatever, whatever ingredient it be. And I think that's crossing over right there. I think that's the point where you got to ask yourself a lot of hard questions. Quality versus quantity.
Absolutely. And it astonishes me out there. I talked to some mead makers out there that have been, or meaderies, meadery owners that have been open for, a year or less, and they're already going into these mass distribution contracts and selling stuff everywhere. And I mean, anywhere and everywhere they can, talking grocery stores and, specialty liquor stores and wine stores. And I'm like, hey, good for you for being able to pull all this together. But I'm curious about how well it's going to be when you're, 3-4 years in and your stuff hasn't, been as successful as everybody was hoping it was going to be, from you all the way down to the retailer. Those are it's a lot of time for shit to go sideways.
Right. And a lot of the distribution centers are looking for cheap. They want a very low price point. And if you're not willing to sacrifice your ingredients or the price of your ingredients and meet them at their price point, then you're not going to get in with a distributor. So
100%.
Yep. So you've got to that's another great decision that you have to make.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are willing to just make a mead, a 750 bottle that'll sit on the shelf at $24.99, and it is what it is. As long as it moves, that's the moving product is their their quality statement. The product sells, so it must be making something good. The product sells, so I'm doing something right. It's like, well, there's a lot of other caveats in there personally, and I'm always the asshole that says that, but it's true. Like you said, you get to a point to where you can only scale up so much, and when you're getting into these, 300-400 gallon tanks, 1,000-liter plus tanks, and you got multiple of them you're trying to fill all the time. How much money are you spending to fill all these tanks? How much time and effort can you put into all of them? I mean, I'm hoping it can all go really well, but I mean, it could easily go sideways too.
Yeah, self-distribution for as long as you possibly can to make that money, because then you're not. Yeah. It's not 2 people marking it up. It's just the liquor store. Also can prevent, you from having to lower quality potentially to meet a price point because you're skipping the middleman.
100%.
Colorado's fortunate enough that we can actually self-distribute. I know not everybody else is.
Yeah,
it's true.
And then there's the opportunity of markets that are stronger than other markets. Colorado has a strong mead market, so people from outside there want to break into there because people like you have already done a lot of the legwork to do the advocacy for the mead brand itself. So it's like you said, all the distributors out there are looking for a cheap price.
And that's hard. We don't really want to sacrifice quality. I mean, there's a few of them that have just come in and just hit the market right away and hit it right away. And just because you see them on every shelf doesn't mean they've been doing it as long, and doesn't mean the quality is there. It's just something mass produced, for an end result, for money.
We've had a few hit the market strong, and then they're not even around anymore.
Right.
One,
And
2
some
years
of them
ago,
are
they're
great,
gone.
but don't get me wrong.
Right.
There's plenty of good meads in Colorado, and there's a lot of them are self-distributed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you guys have a fairly solid mead scene up there. You got a lot of award-winning meaderies, and
yeah,
you guys are in a fairly close. I'd say within 100 miles of each other
Oh,
from north to south.
yep,
easy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Probably
Um,
levels now on the
yeah.
between the front range between Fort Collins and Colorado Springs.
It's fun. We've got quite a good blend. We've got like sessions. We've got some
Aged meads like we're doing.
naturally carbonated meads. We've got
yeah.
some.
We're hitting wine festivals these days, and I mean, we did a whiskey festival not too long ago, and there was 5. They kind of put all the honey in one section. There was like
Mhm.
2 whiskeys there that were doing honey, and there was 5 people selling mead,
Yeah.
all in the same section.
We
And
love
they
that.
have their
Whoa.
own meads. Yeah,
Keep telling everybody we need Mead Lane right down the middle, and then the wineries around us. Because we're getting bigger. Our presence is known. You're not getting rid of us. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We're here to
And
stay.
they're all unique to every maker. So it's a really nice blend of styles, and there's a lot to taste when you're there, which makes it really cool.
Yeah.
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 when you look at it, you go to you're at the wine festival. A lot of the cabs will be similar, real similar. It's the same base grade. You're basing it on how they have, what they use for fermentation, what they use for oak and stuff like that to make their nuances. But with that meat, you jump in and it's like, holy hell, it's completely different from location to location to location. You know what to expect when you walk up and you're gonna go for a cab or go for try this guy's cab or this cab, and it's like, okay. But how do you sit there and try 3 different people's meads and really decide, okay, which one do I really want to leave with a bottle of? I'm like, they're so different from each other.
Right.
Don't feel mead really has as much of a staunch, this is how you make it kind of idea like wine does. Everybody's kind of comes out fairly similar, but with mead, there's a lot more freedom. And,
Yeah.
so everybody's taste very different, very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can all be very good too, even though they're vastly different.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna be speaking with I believe it's Dan over there at Antelope Ridge.
Okay.
He's going to join me for the session mead, so I haven't had any of their stuff, but I know that guy, they win awards on a fairly regular basis for their carbonated meads. So like you said, you guys have a nice cross section of all the different styles. You got dry, you got all your award winning meads. I mean, yeah, trust me, you guys are create good company up there for all these other folks. Let's see here.
You had a question about should winning meaderies stop comps, make room for the new guy?
Yeah, I was gonna just get down into some of those more thought provoking questions. Yeah, where do you stand on that? Do you think somebody who's got 45 awards should kind of back off at some point and make room for new people, or just steel sharpen steel, and you're not gonna make better meat if you don't compete against the best?
Exactly.
Keep the bar high.
Yeah, set the bar high.
Absolutely.
Give you something to strive for. Give you a reason to try something different and be more creative and think outside of the box. Yes.
Yeah, nobody wants participation trophies.
No, God no.
Say God no.
So we would be kicked out. We're way past that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Eating.
Yeah, no, I love the idea that you spend it. What about that guy that spins at the top for a little while, and then he gets booted out from somewhere else he hadn't even heard? You're like, whoa, where'd that guy come from? Crap, am I getting left? I got to step up my game because of this guy over here now.
Right.
It's a very good. I mean, it keeps a competitive edge on everything, and it keeps everybody pushing the bar envelope and the quality of everything going up. I mean, if everybody's continuing to strive to put themselves back on top of that medal over there, then the whole quality across the board is going to go up.
I think that styles change after a while because all those guys that are hitting those top numbers and always getting those medals, that style is going to go out of style. Somebody's going to want something, and it might be your mead that's the new style, the new flavor, the new twist, the new approach to mead making. And then that's going to be on top. And then all those top medal winners are going to have to rethink their approach to meat again. I think it keeps it fresh, exciting, and challenging.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
all it's going to take is like somebody doing something, I want to say simple, but it's not going to take some sort of, monumental change. It's going to take some small shift to change things just enough to pique people's interest and make it, like you said, make it interesting again, so to speak.
All right, have that glass that you've judged that's empty that you're just holding on to, smelling while you're walking around because you're like, damn, just remember that meat. Now, how do I get together and do something like that?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
I mean, it took Chaucer's 25 years to reevaluate their recipe because they were getting pushed out. Going back to their base meat, and they'd been around for a long time.
Yeah, is it how do you pronounce that other one? Dance?
Yeah, the dance.
All of a sudden seeing like 10 flavors on liquor store shelves now.
Yeah.
I've never seen that many. So
yeah, they've got a whole rainbow of ceramic bottles.
Not ceramic anymore either.
Oh, they're not? I have not seen.
Is it like aluminum?
It's aluminum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too many liquor. They're getting broken too many liquor stores.
I don't know. Maybe
you think?
They've got 10 different flavors up on the shelf, so maybe because it's becoming popular, or maybe they're just doing something different because the meat industry is so much bigger. But it forces all.
It's that one. They actually. Yeah, those guys just actually lost a lawsuit against a meadery over in the UK for the name Viking's Blood. I guess I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was it's a meadery starts with an L something Lansco mead or something. They apparently had the trademark in the UK and in the European Union for Viking's Blood for 20 some odd years. And Danksmod started using it, and they sued them, and it took forever, and they had to prove all this stuff, but they ended up winning. I don't know. I'd say within the last year, they got that. It was pretty wild.
Vikings Blood for the longest time.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, Mountain Mead Limited just told, Lancashire Mead. Yeah, they did a whole live stream about it and stuff. It was wild. I didn't even think that something like that was possible.
Really?
And again, it only applies over in the UK. It doesn't apply here in the US and the EU and the UK. But
with trademark lawsuits, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you guys. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so trademark lawsuits are real. So people out there, mind your P's and Q's, so to speak.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That put us back a few years in business because we were making for 3 years and then we got locked in litigation for 2.5 years over a trademark. Well, we won, but it was mid-2019 and then COVID shut us down.
Right.
So, be prepared. So.
Yeah. Be prepared for the unpredictable. God. I guess, and one last question here to kind of wrap towards the end of this. Where do you stand on like removing like the historical names? Should we stop calling them Pyments? Should we stop calling them Methaglins? Does this create some sort of quasi barrier to entry? Does it?
I
think you're asking the wrong meadery because I know you're against it.
We actually enjoy it. We put the mellow out there. It's easy to educate we deal with a lot of wine drinkers. I mean, Colorado's big on the wine region, They walk up, they know what it is. They know what this is. We've spent years educating them on a mellow is going to be a fruit, a cider is going to be apple. We put it in our lip because, I mean, how do you walk up and find, what do you, again, I don't want to name somebody else's mead, but if you're using just a fantastical name all the time, you really don't, it doesn't lead on to what's in the bottle, what they're looking, what they might be for.
Sure.
We've used 2 fanciful names, and the amount of time you spend answering questions isn't worth it.
About what's in it,
It's just...
As the meadery I work at is exclusively the other way. Like every mead has a synonymous name or some sort of name that's colloquial for something. And you're right, there is a ton of advocacy as far as that goes. So I guess what you're explaining isn't it might be different, but the fact that you're having to explain something is not any different. And people learn to say, like, people learn about Burgundies and Champagnes and and Bordeaux and all these other things. So if the effort and energy is there, it doesn't take that much brain power to learn Pyment, Metheglin, Sizer.
It prevents is it a red or a white question?
A lot of that too.
For your Pyments?
Anything. We
Oh,
do festivals. We spend
gotcha.
the entire summer. We're at festivals every weekend, starting in pretty early in the year. And we just get a lot of people that don't know what meat is, and they're like, "Is it a
Yeah,
red or white? I like whites. What should I have?" And then so we give them
yeah,
you got to give them something, right?
yeah,
So this is a melomel. Melomels are fruits and berries, except for, which irritates me, Sicer is apple, Pyment is grape. The rest of them are berries. So when you drink this melomel or this melomel, you're going to get berries. And then they love that. That gives them a baseline of what
yeah,
to expect. And we kind of print that out on our trifolds for them to take home. And then they go teach all their friends what a
yeah.
Pyment is, what a melomel is. And I think it creates a lot of excitement because it's something new and exciting.
And it slightly pulls them into our world as well.
It does.
But they're not
Exactly.
used to like, hey, they bring their friend next by and goes, hey, this is the melomel. Remember I was telling you about the melomels?
And then they're like, I know what a melomel is,
A
it's
little bit of
good.
exclusivity.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's really good. Especially if they're
Yeah,
new to meat and they're just stepping in and they've got a little bit of knowledge on it. And, they're excited to share their knowledge with you and drink and enjoy it. They come in knowing what they want or sort of,
yeah.
it's it brings everybody onto the same circle, private
Under the
mead circle.
same. Yeah, yeah. As long as you're bringing people into the fold, that's what really matters. There's so many different avenues to get people in. Everybody knows what beer is. Everybody knows what wine is. You run into, man, what would you say? I'd say maybe 10% of the population that you run into out there knows what meat is, and even less people that have had it based on, oh yeah, I know what that's from, Dungeons and Dragons, or that's from, Beowulf or whatever. And then to find somebody who's even had it is, now you're down to like 1% of people out there. So anytime you can get somebody to um, show excitement and joy and be wanting to share with their friends and everything, I say that's a win. So I think I asked the right question to the right people, even though I approach it a little bit differently. It's all towards the same goal.
When you're like, this is Paul's plagiarized potion, and they're like, what? We gave up on all of that. And then at festivals, when they're drunk, they cannot
Yeah.
say plagiarized potion at all.
But it also
Well, you
makes
did
them,
choose hard alliteration, so
but for wine drinkers, even though it's neat and it's new, it's something similar. They go,
right.
okay, know that I like a melomel. That guy told me what a melomel is, so I know I like fruit meads.
It's
It is.
to go down.
Yeah.
Which style? Okay, well, I know I like melomels. Sizers aren't quite for me.
But
What's your traditional like?
I've always wanted to try a bochet. Do you have a bochet? Right. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I asked the right question to the right people.
On the other hand, if you're trying to attract beer drinkers and you're doing a lot of sessions, I can definitely see where a lot of those fanciful names that are coming in pretty quick and
those guys and their
yeah, when you're trying to convert beer drinkers or
yeah,
because beer drink
they have their
draft
own
house down there, they've got so many different names. You have to still
EPA lager, this, that, and the other. Yeah, they got their own rabbit
fanciful
hole.
names. You're like, okay, what exactly am I drinking?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's May the 4th be with you. Got it. What's this blue something another? Oh, it's an IPA. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm here for all that excitement. I'm here for the stuff that's pointed straight in your face. I'm here for the stuff that's esoteric. I want all of it because it's all delicious.
Maybe we could talk about gaming the system.
Yes. One, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, how about any tips or tricks in gaming the system?
Go for it.
I know we hit up on a little bit of it earlier. If
Yeah.
you taste it, don't declare it.
Or if you
If
don't
you
taste it, don't declare it.
don't taste it, don't declare it. I mean, you can have vanilla in there as a base flavor, but if it's not vanilla, leave it as a base flavor. Say you've got this as your flavor on your meat. Even if and we run into this a lot sometimes at the festivals. It's if it's a sweet meat, but it's not tasting sweet and it's tasting more semi-sweet, all in
Oh,
the freaking semi-sweet category for your judging.
like plum for
100.
tannin. The tannins bring it down, even though it's in the sweet category.
That's a couple of sweet meats that once you get into the acids from the juice and a little bit of the tannins from the oak and everything, it might finish at 1040, but
Yeah,
you're going to taste it tastes like it's less than 1025 because of all the balance and everything else going on with it. So just judge it
100%.
as it appears to be.
Yeah,
Last thing you want to put in a sweet meat by the numbers that's tasting more towards the semi-sweet to dry side of things, and you don't want to lose points for that.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
don't want to lose for naming 20 ingredients and only having two that are in the forefront.
yeah. It's
And
all
you're
about that perception. It's not about what's really there. It's about what can be perceived. Even if it is a strawberry, blackberry, something, something, something that's, at a 1050. If it tastes like a 1010, declare it as semi-sweet and don't say them strawberries if they're not in there.
Yeah, nobody's going to pay attention to whether or not it's 70% tart cherries, 30% sweet cherry.
Yeah.
It's we're not going to
Nobody
get the
cares
difference.
what region your blueberries came from. Nobody cares that they were handpicked by munchkins and Oompa Loompas. Like, I promise.
You don't.
We prefer trolls with yellow hair.
Yes.
Well, of course. I mean, they are the preferred berry pickers.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I was going to say, we should talk about the sessions, the melona, or the historical names, gaming the system, differentiating between categories. Oh, and then, yeah, what about your thoughts on additional categories, like a broadening of categories, like more either like a defined range of, say, like something beyond sweet, like a dessert sweet or a pastry sweet, or different, just stretching out the gravity points to make them a little wider, because everything from 1025 up is sweet. And there's a lot of meads that live in that 1025 and up range, and have to judge them all against each other seems a bit
It's like wrestling in
ghoulish.
high school. It just starts at
Oh
280,
yeah,
starts at 189 and tops out at 275, and everywhere in between is the same. It's like it's
yeah.
not this competition either.
This isn't unlimited, man. I promise.
You're only on the bottom side of that. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to hitting up those dessert side of things,
Yeah.
or even something. You hit your Sackneys where there's, you know, break off Polish into their own subcategory even.
Your palate needs to be prepared for that
Yeah.
sweeter level, that higher tier. Yeah. If you're not ready for that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
so
yeah,
like a higher ABV, higher sugar content, I think would definitely work.
Yep.
Even just especially from a judging standpoint, I think having different categories for that is,
Yeah,
open categories a
ABVs
little
too.
too open. I would because you can have
yeah,
a open category. You can have somebody could do a spice sizer at 8%, and you gotta track it up right up against the blackberry Polish style mead that's running 18% sack.
Yeah, those
Same
are.
category, and they're totally two different beasts.
yeah,
Sweeter one tends to stomp out all the other ones that are really complex to put together, but those sweeter, heavier ones that are just as complex tend to stomp the lighter ones by the end of it.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna taste
yeah.
those lighter ones.
It's not
But
fair.
it's not. And
Experimental
then
category is brutal.
it is. I mean, if you walk away from a medal in there, man,
So competing
extra
is a
kudos.
home brewer, and when you start pulling medals, then transition.
Right.
100%.
I don't remember. Did they get rid of it? For like 1 year they had a fruit and spice category. Is
No,
that
fruit and
still?
spices. Yeah, fruit and spice is still there. That'll be, um, I think that's, so we're at M2B. Next is, uh, so they're in the spice category. So I think that's M3A is fruit and spice, and then spice and vegetable or metheglins.
I remember competing a couple of times where that's exactly it. You have to throw in your spice sizer, and with somebody that's thrown in four types of jalapenos and 7 different types of oak to make something. You're just like, man,
Yeah.
where's my spices? What happened to that this year?
Well, and it's really crummy that you make a apple mead and then you throw cinnamon in it. Now all of a sudden it's an experimental, and now you're competing against, again, like you said, all these giant Polishes just because you made a semi-sweet apple with a little bit of cinnamon in it. And in my opinion, there needs to be room for that within the sizer category.
It's like Boucher is another one.
Yeah.
They considered it a spice.
Yeah, the guys are helping you.
Yeah.
Even like we do as our vanilla cream Boucher. Since we caramelize the honey, they want to throw in the experimental versus it's a method. It's literally just honey and spices. Whether or not we've caramelized it before or after, it's not really an experimental. I mean, it's part of the process of doing it.
Yeah.
It seems that they'll miscategorize the Boucher, a method blend Boucher, because it was
Boucher category?
no.
There's no
No.
Boucher.
No, Bouchers all get thrown in experimental. There's like competitions that will add Boucher as a competition, but as a entry point in the competition, but there's no like official M category in BJCPs for Bouchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they consider it an alternative process. So.
Right, but if you put oak on a traditional, it's not an alternative process. But if you put oak on a sizer, it's an alternative process.
No, all processes are allowed oak. That's pretty much the only thing that your only things you're allowed that won't qualify you out of your category is tannic, acidic, and honey adjustments.
All right.
It's silly. Like I think, but I've been saying for a long time there's too many opportunities for things that, like you said, the open category, the experimental category becomes a catch-all for everything that these people who want to enter something that's just slightly different than whatever else is in the sizer category, the Pyments category, and then all that you can't because of some nuanced rule that from some people. Like I'm very grateful that we have something like the BJCP categories for just the fact that people can enter competitions and get medals in a legitimate mead thing, but I think it might be something that's outgrown its usefulness.
So we're still using that 20. I'm sorry.
If you break it down too far, though, there's just a greater chance of miscategorizing it, and
Well, that's what I mean.
Amazing mead because you miscategorized it. I think that would be my biggest. I think that's the biggest pitfall there. But otherwise, yeah.
I mean, aren't we about due for a revision? What was the last revision?
15, like you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, God, that's what, 2 years ago. I mean, styles have changed since then, and a lot more people are knowing about it. I think there's definitely.
I think beer's gotten 2 updates since then.
I thought there was an 18, but everybody seems to keep judging back on the 15.
For mead, I think there may have been some sort of like small addendum or an appendix or something added potentially, but 15 is the only thing I see available out there. Yeah.
Time for change. I think they need to update it a bit. Make sure spice is prevalent. Make sure that you can break down that open category to include a little bit more. It'll keep it competitive. I mean, if you're breaking out your sack meats, your high ABV sack meats are in their own category, and if spice are in there, then you can actually throw the capsule category out.
Drops into dry, 8 to 12% or 8 to 13%, and then dry, 14 and above, and that would further break down the category. Would you need more judges for that? Would it take longer?
If you're still throwing that many experimentals in there, that takes tables to judge that anyway.
It does.
It's often the largest category behind Mellow Mel.
Yep.
And at least if you broke it down a little bit, then you wouldn't have the same guys judging a hydromel jalapeno and a blackberry Polish style all in the same flat.
Fry your palate
No
too.
shit.
I've had a hydromel that was a hydromel jalapeno that was like almost watercolor. It's really good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, you definitely follow it up with that.
What's the weirdest mead you've ever done? Yeah,
At
the table.
I didn't give, but the weirdest one I've ever had was a bacon.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
It had bacon. Now the weirdest one I've had at the table.
I've got one of
Um,
those in my fridge right now, bacon mead.
nice.
um, oh, the green tomato was interesting.
I'm on my way. I want to
Um,
try it now.
We'll get you one.
I've got judged one with green tomato in it. Um,
The
oh, okay.
love apple, yeah.
It was. I have to say it would be a tie between. It was two traditionals. One of them made with a rum yeast,
Ooh,
and the other made with a kombucha mother.
ooh,
Oh,
that
that's interesting.
It was.
yeah.
They
So
were
that
both
would be wild.
inter- and yeah, you get a lot of the tartness out of that. It was really interesting. It's a little out of style. It was, I mean, compared to everything else on the table when you're used to drinking regular meads,
Yeah.
it was still standard. So it was between 7 and 14 somewhere. I don't remember exactly. But
Ooh,
yeah, they did a really good job. We had that little acidic flavor to it. And because of, yeah, it was a semi-sweet too. So they had a really good balance.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the rum yeast actually gave it a really interesting rum characteristic. I don't think they oaked it at all. It was just the rum yeast.
Huh.
just all from the yeah.
Yeah, so you get those kind of those rum, some of the unrefined sugars are in there. But what about
Yeah, I'd
you,
like to
Evan?
experiment with some of those distillers yeasts. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And they'll go to 15% ABV.
I had one that
So
tasted like pine trees, and I thought it was just, it tasted like honey up front, but
Mm.
as it lingered, as you waited, that pine just got stronger and stronger and hit really hard. It was interesting.
Ooh, yeah, pine resin. That tastes like home. Tastes like the forest of Washington.
and you're what's the most interesting meat you judged?
Ooh,
Curious.
um, most interesting meat I've judged. That's a phenomenal question. Um, I can't really say that I've judged too many like overly interesting meads that stand out. The ones that I guess the ones that do stand out, the ones that use like peculiar ingredients, anything with like Szechuan peppercorns, the ones that are kind of like alter your taste profile. I'm always a fan for the big melomels, the big anything big and bold. The Polish styles are always fun to judge. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of anything. I don't know if I've had judge any with like bacon or meat or anything like that.
it's been a while. And I
Um,
was a homebrew.
yeah, man, it's been a long time since I've judged too. It's been over a year since I've been to a competition. I need to really get out there and start judging again. There's not a whole lot of competitions here locally, but now that I'm more stabilized, I'm hoping I can get out to like Mazer Cup and get out to some of these larger competitions. Even some smaller competitions would be really fun to get out to. Actually, probably be better to get out to some of the smaller ones.
Definitely. That reminds me when you talk about gaming the system,
Yeah.
know wherever whatever festival you're heading to, know what
Mm.
the judge base is like. Because if you're sending something over to if they're judging in the show, you don't want to send over your dry as mead.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
watch your regions where, I mean, if you kind of know what the region is and where the kind of judges are from, that's the one you got
Yes.
to watch. Texas, they like some nice heavy stuff. I mean, we've scored well with sizers in Texas and Pyments in Texas, and and same thing locally. But then throw it over to. I've had the same. It's interesting. I've had the same mead judged here, judged in Texas, and judged for a honey festival. All different judges, and like the scores between them were high
Wild.
here. The honey competition, which was down south, and it was a beer judge on the lead, were 10-point difference. They were 10 points lower than where
Yeah.
the mead judges were up in Denver and even Texas. So it's just you just got to watch the region too.
Yeah. I was speaking with Alan Martin. He's a AMMA Home Mead Maker of the Year and National Honey Board Home Mead Maker of the Year. And he doesn't consider anything without at least, he doesn't consider any like score for a mead unless he's entered in at least 3 or 4 competitions to get, like you said, to help avoid like a regional bias. You get 3 or 4 scores, then you can kind of average them all out and see where you're at. And then, like you said, if you know you're entering something that's sizer, big heavy sizer, and they dig those in Texas, maybe you might be getting a little bit of a skewed in your favor thing. Maybe send it to somewhere that's a little more critical, so to speak.
Right. I mean, even before we went commercial, we took like our raspberry and some of our traditionals, some of these recipes we wanted to duplicate, and we hit
Mm,
them up with different competitions and just to see what the scores were like. Here, if you're maybe even sent the same batch to be judged again, a year later to see how it's aged and what people thought on it too.
sure.
See what the scores like the year after it. It's like, does it improve? Did it get worse? What are their comments on it?
Yeah.
Did you talk about the collaboration you did with the brewery?
Oh no.
Oh boy.
We did a collaboration and we called it our Golden Dragon Braggot. We combined a barrel aged peach, it was about 12%.
Wasn't it Bochet?
It was Bochet peach.
Yep.
And they barrel aged a Pilsner base, and we blended them.
He barrel aged 6 months too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, they barrel aged 6 months. And they were almost like, and the brewery has to put it together, but they were almost 50-50.
It was perfectly balanced. It was so good.
Gorgeous. They were selling it as a small pour because we were both shooting for 10 and ended up over 12%.
Ooh.
So it was high for beer. It was great for mead. We sent
Yeah.
it to the honey board under the, was it the Mazer? No, we sent it to Mazer and we sent it to the honey board did their honey beer competition, and we kicked it out to the beer. Mazer said it was too much like a beer, and the honey board beer competition said it was too much like a mead.
So it was perfect.
So pretty metal on either side of it, but it's like.
But it was the best compliment ever from both sides.
Exactly.
Too much like a mead.
They canceled each other out, so yeah, it was perfect.
I was gonna say that's about the best you could hope for there. Braggots are something. I've got a guy coming on for Braggots later in the year as well, and that's something that I'm wildly interested in doing later. And blending beers and meats together seems to be the way to do it. And fermenting a beer with honey and then trying to get it back sweetened and stuff seems to be a much larger challenge.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on back sweetening?
I used to be heavily for it because it seemed easier to just ferment everything dry and then back sweeten to where you wanted it to be. But anymore, I'm definitely on the side of target fermenting. Like I'd much rather start at 1200, end at 1085 if I wanted 1085 to be my final gravity. I'm starting to learn the like fermentation range of some of the yeast that I'm using. Okay, this yeast I know I can roughly under different different conditions I can roughly get about 110 points of gravity out of this yeast. So if I start it here, I'm going to finish roughly in this range. I imagine the more I use it and the more conditions I get, it'll fine tune that even more. But yeah, target fermenting is definitely the way to go. Back sweetening and getting that unfermented honey characteristic added in there. It just doesn't quite hit the same.
Exactly.
You get the sweetness, but it doesn't add, like I said, there's that X factor when the honey that's in there that isn't fermented still has been through the fermentation process. It changes it. It's like I said, it's been touched from the other side.
Yep. I agree completely. You can taste that some people back sweeten a little, some back sweeten a lot, and
Yeah.
You definitely get that raw honey flavor out of it, and you can tell.
Yeah. Well, like Shane said initially, it's you're not going for that raw honey characteristic. You're wanting that amalgamation of flavors. You just dump in honey and it doesn't blend. It just makes it's there. The sweetness gets there. The sugar gets there, but it's not the same.
And that's another way to put your 32 up to a 42. It's your target. Get your target fermentation down.
Yeah.
Avoid the back sweetening. Yeah.
As much as possible.
Yeah. Get all the controllable control as many variables as you can in the process, and definitely target ferment for all those meats.
Time, temperature.
Temperature control is, I would say, is always the first thing people ask me is like, what would you say is the biggest thing I can do to improve my meat? Temperature control. Either pick a yeast for the temperature that you're in or control the temperature for the yeast you want to use. There's only two ways around it.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to ferment with Quebec in the middle of winter.
Talked to a lot of new meat makers in the tasting room, and a lot of them don't know how to pull the meat off the yeast and rack it off the yeast.
Oh yeah, yeah. You definitely want to get that stuff off the lees as soon as you can.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure. So
At
rack.
least the majority of it.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to rack it. Every time you rack it, taste it.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, you're gonna lose some. Don't be afraid to have a little bit of loss. I mean, be conscientious of how you're racking and try to do your best. But at the end of the day, there's gonna be, it's not a lossless process, unfortunately.
Evaluate it every step, every rack, every addition. You want to taste a little bit, but make sure you're on the right track.
Yep.
See where you're at. See
Know you're
what
gonna
step you did something last. I just did this step. How did that affect how this flavor ended up here? Okay, well, now we're doing fruit addition. After we do the fruit addition, we rack it again. Well, how did this flavor end up with that process?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're tasting it along the way, you're just shoving it in the closet and touching it every month, just racking it. You're not going to know how it's going. You got to
Very
check
true.
in on it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think meads necessarily need to be ready in 7 days, but they don't have to take 7 months either. There can be a happy medium.
Now,
Fermenting at 7 months, you really should evaluate it.
Oh. Yeah, if it takes you 7 months to ferment something, I mean, I think you're making kimchi at this point.
Okay.
bury it in the backyard.
Exactly. Hopefully, it's in a clay pot, well sealed in the backyard.
Talk about fermenting, or is it still in the same vessel and then you have like no bubbles? Like you're not rapidly fermenting, because I don't know how many people think that they're still fermenting when they're actually fermentation is done. They already hit their lag phase and they should have racked it. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's. They're like, dude, get it off the lees. You don't. If there's no bubbles, even like
That's
one
gonna change
occasionally,
the
get
flavor.
it out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just let it sit there. It'll be fine. I'm like, all you're doing is really just imparting a really peculiar and off flavor to your mead.
Completely.
So you're doing a surly fermentation for a French wine. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, let's skip all that. Any last minute tips, tricks, hints, or anything that we haven't already covered? I think we've covered a pretty good gamut of, entry ideas, entry tips, hints, especially ones towards leaning and making pyments.
yeah, it's just like I said, just choose your fruit wisely.
Mm.
Yeah. Whether it's
I,
fruit juice or frozen, I mean, just choose it wisely and work within the type of product it actually is.
Yeah. And balance your flavors.
I think that's very well put. Carefully choose your fruit.
Yep. Enjoy yourself.
Very
Don't
much.
trust your friends that says it's awesome.
Yes, don't trust the lip service from your friends 100%. They're just there for the free booze. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your evening. I'll be in touch.
See you, TK.
Have a good night. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. It's our Pyments episode in the book. Join me next week when we'll be doing M2C berry meads. Should be wild and fun and crazy. Have a good night. Peace.